Conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year to all of you. It's good to see you all. I'm going to just say a couple of announcements and then I'll turn it over to Jennifer. This is going to be her meeting today. Just to want to let you all know, I want to kind of put this out there before it starts getting in the rumor mill. But Thelma, our activities director, has put in her resignation. She has decided she wants to be able to spend more time with her family. She's got some family things going on and she wants to be a part of that. Along with that, Jill Hanner, our seasonal part-time employee in activities, has also put in her resignation. I do want to thank both of those ladies. They've done a great job. Thelma has been the activities director for over 5 years. And I do appreciate everything she's done. And I'm sure all of you do too. I have no other information to provide on that at this time because it's still all new to us and we're still working on what we're going to do. Okay, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jennifer.
Thank you, Darlene. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out on this not so typical Surprise Arizona Day. I feel like maybe I'm in Ohio, which is where I'm from, where it's cloudy and cold and rainy. At any rate, welcome. Thank you for coming. Happy New Year. Am I the only one having trouble believing that it's actually 2026? I'm like, whoa, what happened to 2025? I blinked and it was over. I want to talk a little bit. I have notes, and I usually do not have notes. However, I don't want to miss anything. And as I get older, I find that I may miss things. I want to talk a little bit about the Happy Trails volunteers. Our community was built on the backs of people volunteering to do what needed to be done to make Happy Trails a better place for all of us to live. Volunteers continue to be a very big part of the Happy Trails culture. Everything from the people that drive the stagecoach, to the people that work in activities, to the people that volunteer to serve on committees or chair committees, to your board of directors. All of these people give of their time, of their energy, and of their expertise to make our home better. I'm going to ask a favor of everyone who is here, and if you could pass this favor on to your friends and neighbors in the community, I would appreciate it. If you see someone volunteering, please take a moment and thank them. Say, hey, thanks for driving that stagecoach. Thanks for serving on a committee. Thanks for serving on the board. A small minute of your time will go a long way to making these volunteers feel valued. That said, I wish to read a quote, and I would love to take credit for finding this quote. I did not, but it was given to me by another director. So thank you to that director for finding this, because it speaks to volunteerism. And I quote, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly." End quote. Theodore Roosevelt. And just a few words about the structure of the community in which we live. Happy Trails is an Arizona homeowners association. As a homeowners association in Arizona, we are governed by our governing documents, the Happy Trails governing documents, by Arizona state statute, and by case law. So those three things are the guiding principles that run the community in which we live. The board. It is the responsibility of the board to make decisions that are best for all of the owners in Happy Trails. And it is not an easy job, because Happy Trails has 2,001 lots, which means 2,001 owners, 2,001 members. That's a lot of people. So the board has to be aware of making the best decisions for every one of those people, not any small, vocal, special interest group. And it is hard to keep that focus. And it is the responsibility of the board of directors to follow these guidelines, which I just read: our governing documents, state statute, and case law. So while the board is making decisions, they have to ensure that the decisions do follow those 3 governing principles. 7 members on your board. A lot of moving parts in Happy Trails. The board of directors depends on the committees in Happy Trails to do a lot of the legwork, a lot of the research to make recommendations to the board to vote on something. And these committees play an integral part in the overall running of Happy Trails to make certain that it runs smoothly, to make certain that proposals are brought to the board with the legwork and the research done. HomeCo. Does everyone in this room know who HomeCo is? Is there anyone who doesn't? HomeCo is our community association management company, and they have been our community association management company for a long time, way longer than I have lived in Happy Trails. And they are responsible for the day-to-day operations in Happy Trails. Every staff person in Happy Trails ultimately reports to our general manager, Darlene Pedro. So she has a big responsibility. You can see a lot of folks up there, and that doesn't count all of the people that are under each of those different headings. But if you have a concern, if you have a question, if you simply want to know what is the responsibility of a particular staff member, Darlene is the person to ask. I would also at this point like to say that staff reports to Darlene. The staff does not report to the board of directors. It does not report to any individual owners. The staff has a direct reporting line to Darlene. So if you have a concern, Darlene is the place to go. Can you imagine, and I'm going to pick on one person, can you imagine if 2001 people in Happy Trails told any one of those employees how to do their job, what to do, they were doing it wrong, could they come over here? Oh, wait, can you help me at my property? My job is more important. Can you imagine the chaos? Of course you can. Therefore, there is a process. It is through Darlene. And Darlene reports to a person at HomeCo. Darlene's manager, direct report, is Tamara Swanson. So if you have a concern or a question about Darlene, take it to Tamara. You do not Twitter about it among yourselves. You do not bring it to the board. It takes the proper channel. And I'm saying this because it is important that we all understand and follow the chain of command. I am going to tell you all something that my husband suggested. He suggested that I come here wearing a t-shirt with a target on the front of it and probably on the back of it, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like the buck stops here. So I am going to open the floor to questions. I am going to make a couple of comments before we start questions. If there is a question that I do not know the answer to, Darlene will be recording them, and the answer to that question will be put out for everyone to see. I think that's all. So, oh, and Michael over here and Deanna over here will bring the microphone to you if you have any questions. So if you raise your hand, the microphone can come to you.
Brian Souders, Lot 38. For new owners and renters that this could be their first meeting, could you introduce?
Absolutely. You know, that is really, I want to tell you, that is like really a good point, because I make the assumption that because I wear this tiny little name tag, people know who I am. What a joke. Half the time I forget to wear it because I'm not necessarily a name tag person. And the other half of the time, we all do not have 20-year-old eyes. So I am Jennifer Ellswick. I am the president of the board of directors at Happy Trails. This is Darlene Pedro. She is the general manager of Happy Trails. This is Bradley Gonzalez. He is the operations manager of Happy Trails. Over there, we have Deanna, and she is the on-site bookkeeper for Happy Trails. Up in the booth, we have Michelle, and she is the office manager receptionist for Happy Trails. Over here, we have Michael, who is the office assistant part-time, but Michael is really a good go-to guy for like electronics and front steps and that kind of thing. I see we have some directors with us today. We have Cliff Guru, who is a director. We have Fred Rand, who is a director. We have Brad Midkiff, who's a director. We have John Chilcote, who is a director. I am not seeing Cindy Evans. You are Cindy Evans is a director. And I'm not seeing Chuck. And Chuck Garvey is a director. So all of the directors. Sure. While I'm introducing, those are the directors. And over here we have Mika, who does compliance. And we have Henry, who's DRC. Have I missed anyone? And this is Tamara Swanson. This is Tamara Swanson. She is from Homeco Corporate. Have I missed anyone else? Okay, next question.
Good morning, Roberta Ernest, 712-996. I'm curious as to why it has been said that you are discouraging board directors to discuss association business one-on-one with owners.
You are correct, Roberta. I have been discouraging that. There are two reasons why I have been discouraging that. The first reason is that we have a management company, and it is the responsibility of the management company to answer association questions. One of the things we pay them for. The second reason is a little bit more one-on-one, and I think probably the best way I can do this is with an example. If a board member, any board member, is speaking to any owner about association business, that owner immediately makes the leap in their brain that that one director is speaking for the entire board. And that is not necessarily the case. So that is a disconnect. And I'm going to use an example. I have a grapefruit tree in my yard that about this time every year, my grapefruit tree receives a compliance letter because it is really big and it's like sticking out, and it probably is above our roof line, and it might be sneaking over onto my neighbor Carl's property. So every year my grapefruit tree gets a compliance letter. So as a lot owner, that I would go up to Fred and I would say, Fred, do you think my grapefruit tree looks okay? And Fred goes, Jennifer, your grapefruit tree is fine. So now I believe that Fred is speaking for the entire board and for compliance, and that my grapefruit tree is fine. That is what can happen. That is the danger of speaking one-on-one about association business. So it's really a protection for the directors to not be misunderstood and to not be construed as speaking for the entire board.
Jennifer, my name's Michelle Stoltz. I'm lot 444. I kind of, I don't know, disagree with that statement some. I'm trying to understand what you then feel is the board director's positions. And I'll give an example of the meeting that I went to where the ranch people came in to talk about the Class C. That is not a home code decision. So are you saying that board members shouldn't be able to go around and talk to homeowners about concerns like that? Because I've gotten the impression that we're being told never to talk to the board members. We don't have any more we're listening sessions. We're only allowed 2 minutes, and I can tell you from experience, to stand up and just be able to talk for 2 minutes is not very long, especially if you want to have a back and forth. I have a question, you give me an answer, my 2 minutes are up, I can't even respond to your answer. I think people are very, very frustrated here with being able to express opinions and have discussions about big issues.
Let me start. We're not going to applaud for anything today. It is not a show. Let me start with where you started off with the Class C.
That was just one example.
It is a Class A.
Class A, I made the wrong count.
Okay, it is Class A in the ranch, not a Class C, just for clarification.
I understand, and I made a mistake there. I understand it was Class A.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify
I've never
there.
been an RV owner, which is why I would make.
That's fine. And I agree that there has to be opportunity to speak. And that is why I'm standing here today, so that you can ask me questions. There will be, this is the first town hall meeting of 2026. There will be additional town hall meetings, and town hall meetings are the venue for questions for back and forth.
To you, but to the board of directors, because they're the people who get to vote. So when do we get the opportunity to talk to the people that are going to make votes on these big issues, to have discussions about those issues?
This board meeting, or I'm sorry, this town hall meeting, I am speaking. At future town hall meetings, the other directors will be speaking also. The thing is, and I do wish to stress this, the board meeting is the opportunity for the board to conduct the business of the association. It is not an opportunity for back and forth. It is an opportunity to ask a question and to get an answer to your question. Now, because there have been so many concerns about the board meeting, Tamara had a suggestion for the directors, which the directors have adopted. And the board meeting packet is really a tool for the board members to have the information that they need to make a decision at the board meeting. And this was not working well because the board was having their planning meeting 1 week before the board meeting. So we had the planning meeting and there was not opportunity for the board to say, hey, we need additional information here. We need additional information here. So then we're in the board meeting. They're going, we've got to kick this can down the road because we don't have enough information. Therefore, we have made an adjustment. The board has its planning meeting 2 weeks before the board meeting. And those questions on the motions are now asked at that meeting, giving Darlene an opportunity to get the answers so that when we come to the board meeting, we have more information. That's step 1. Step 2 is the board meeting packet, which truly is only, if you will, backup material for the board, will now be available to the owners. And this is Tamara's suggestion because Tamara has another community that does this very thing. So this idea came from Tamara. The board meeting packet will be available. All of the things that the board has in their packet will be available in a binder in the office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before the board meeting. So if you see an item on the agenda that is of particular interest to you, regardless of what it is, you'll have an opportunity to go see all of the backup information that the board sees before the meeting, hopefully to help you frame your questions.
Yes, I understand. I was at all of those meetings, and I will say, I somewhat question only one binder being available for 2001 lots only during business hours. I wonder why it doesn't cost anything to put it out electronically and let everybody be able to have a chance to look at it whenever, if it's midnight, when they have the time to go sit down and look at it and be able to access it electronically. If you can put it out in a paper form, I do not understand why it cannot be also made available in electronic form. I know the reasoning was to make it available to every lot owner, but if you put a paper form in the office, then it's available to those people who do not have electronics. But why can we not also make it so much easier for anyone who does like to use electronics to have it available to them all hours of the day and night to go look at it whenever possible?
And this is, if you will, a working document for the board, not something to be copied, put out there electronically.
So you're not going to allow somebody to take a picture with their phone if they go in and look at the packet and turn to a page that they want to go home and review further?
If they want to do that,
Well, then they can disperse that electronically over Facebook, over wherever you're saying you might not want it to be. I just don't see why it cannot be made available electronically for everybody to be able to look at in the hours that are available to them to look at it, instead of just one paper copy in an office during office hours.
at this time, that was the decision that the board made. Certainly, we will listen to what you have to say. There are Tamara's other community that does this, has the ability to drop the document into a lockbox where it can be read, not copied, where it can be viewed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but then the viewing stops and however, we do not have that ability at Happy Trails. We will investigate it, but at this time it is not available. So at this time, it will be a paper copy in the office.
Okay. I have a second question. I don't know if anybody else has got their hands raised or need to come back to me. But I have a question about volunteering. When I was at the board planning meeting last week, there were comments made to take off some kind of a motion that was going to be made about the about the wagon at the front entrance. And then there was a comment made, we don't need that anymore because we've decided all we need to do is put a coat of linseed oil on the wagon.
That was my comment.
And then there was a decision made that they can't do that we can't have volunteers do that. I'm trying to understand, how come we can't have a volunteer put a coat of linseed oil on that wagon But I can come in here every Friday night after bingo and lift up these tables and chairs and put them away. I can have people driving the stagecoach around. I can have people driving the patrol around. If we're going to talk liabilities, where is there more liability with that? I mean, I'm not trying, trust me, I am not trying to dispel volunteerism. I would like to boost it back up again and get out of the, we can't do this, we can't do that because we're so worried that somebody's going to sue us.
I agree with you 100%. And it was a mystery to me as to why linseed oil was a concern. All right. Now, I know that the board has been working diligently to try to ensure that our volunteers are covered should they get injured. Not looking at the should they sue us portion of it, but if they get injured portion of it. So I spent a great deal of time with the association's attorney and the association's insurance advocate. And the bottom line is pretty simple in that the carriers want the specific names of volunteers so that should there be a claim, that person is named as a volunteer. It is not a problem for the board of directors. It is not a problem for committee members because committee members are approved in a board meeting. Therefore, they are part of the board meeting notes. So these are noted volunteers in minutes. It becomes a bigger problem because Happy Trails has dozens of volunteers and there is no insurance carrier who would want to trade out, every month or every couple of weeks, we have these volunteers, we no longer have these. So the idea was that everyone who volunteers signs a code of conduct. Therefore, should anything happen to someone while they were volunteering, and it should ever go to court, or just to go to the insurance company, there would be a documented record that that person was a recognized volunteer at Happy Trails. I don't want to go any farther into this because that is still in the works as how we can ensure our volunteers are covered. And I agree with you. There are volunteers that drive, there are volunteers that take down tables, there are volunteers that do a lot of things. And I believe that we are seeing in the last couple of months, we are seeing a real upsurge in the number of people willing to volunteer to do things. And that is a very positive thing. But in answer to your question, we want to make sure that everyone who volunteers at Happy Trails is covered.
Okay, it's going to be interesting to see how you do that on Friday Night Bingo because it's a different group of people every week and everybody, whoever wants to, picks up and doesn't have.
Here we go.
Yes, how you doing? Terry Bader, lot 953. I've got a question about you had a flow chart before.
Org chart,
A flow chart of who,
organizational chart.
okay, call it whatever you want to call it. And I'm trying to distinguish between HomeCo employees, in other words, people that work directly for HomeCo, which we contract to, and people that work for Happy Trails as employees. I'm trying to understand how that works and the supervisory situation of those people. And in the same question, when Happy Trails needs a HomeCo employee to be added to our list of people to do these jobs for us, do we get to vet those people or does HomeCo vet those people? Just wondering about the qualifications of the people that we are sent from HomeCo the company that we employ to manage our community.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. Good question. The actual HomeCo employees today are the employees that work in the office. So that would be Darlene, Bradley, Mika, Henry. I want to call Henry Tony all the time. Sorry. Mika, Henry, Michelle, and Michael. Those are the actual HomeCo employees today. Oh, Deanna, I'm sorry. Thank you. And Deanna, did I get 6 of you? If I did, that's all 6 of you. Okay. The other employees, all of them, including the activities director and assistant activity director, in addition to the staff, are Happy Trails employees. And the employees that would be vetted by would be the general manager position, the operations manager position. But as far as the other positions, we have to depend on the management company, HomeCo, to do the proper vetting to make those hires. That's why we have HomeCo.
Where can we find this organizational structure chart? I can't. Oh, Joy Thrum, lot 216. And I'm wondering where this structure is listed. I could not find it on Front Steps. I find Front Steps hard to figure out where things are.
Okay, thank you. It is on Front Steps. I cannot go through all the steps to get to it on Front Steps, but if you would like, you can send an email to Darlene or Bradley or probably even Michael, and they would print one out for you. Organizational charts? Is that enough? Okay, thank you. Terry, I think you had something else.
So the community or the board has no input or vetting of the people that HomeCo sends to us to fulfill the positions within that organization.
The simple answer is yes.
Yes, they do not.
Yes, they do not.
Thank you.
Sandy Green, lot 1607. I have a couple questions, but do we as Happy Trails have regular scheduled maintenance routines? And if so, do we have access to those schedules?
That's a great question, Sandy. And the simple answer to that is no. We do not have regularly scheduled maintenance, nor do we have regularly scheduled things that you can see, except on a very few items. There is regularly scheduled maintenance on our air conditioning units, which critical to Arizona. There is regularly scheduled maintenance on the golf carts. I am not aware of any other regularly scheduled where there is a chart with timeframes for regularly scheduled maintenance. That said, we are working with the operations manager to get more things on not just a maintenance required schedule like air conditioning, check this, check this, check this, but also to develop maintenance schedules for things that need to be done around the resort on a regular basis. And I'm just going to pick one, like drainage ditches need to be cleaned out. We don't think a lot about drainage ditches in Arizona because guess what? It doesn't rain here all that often. But when it does rain, it's like a torrential thing. So we need to start thinking about those types of things. Drainage ditches need to be cleaned out. They need to be cleaned out every 3 months, every 6 months, after monsoon season, whatever. So we are working with the operations manager to get some of those things that are not necessarily a mechanical thing, but other things under tree trimming. The trees in Happy Trails had not been trimmed for 40 years. So last year, the board had to take a big bite out of the operating budget to get these trees trimmed. Those types of things need to be put on a schedule. So it's a great point, and it's a work in progress. Okay, pools and hot tubs are also on the maintenance schedule.
Hi, Barb Anderson, Lot 1067. And just one point about the volunteers. One thing is you mentioned the code of conduct form, but when I actually worked in risk management in a school district, and you have another form that is a release of liability, which covers us getting hurt, that we know it's on us. So that's just a thought.
Actually, Barb, great suggestion, great thought, and that is why it is with the association's attorney to make sure that we have all the forms that we need before we start it. So thank you. Great thought.
Jocelyn Harpel, lot 1233. We were sent 2 different emails over the holidays stating that all guests must be with the resident. Hear it? All visitors, sorry. And I have it up here, which is right of enjoyment of owner's right of enjoyment 2.1.1. And it says that may only use common areas when an owner or adult occupant present, such as guest house. So has that changed? Because Captain Dave has stated it has changed. That any guests can use any of the facilities and no resident or occupant has to be with them.
Who, I'm sorry, I did not hear who you said.
Captain Dave.
No.
As per patrol.
That has not changed. What you have read has not changed.
Okay. Michelle, help me here.
So if you actually look in the CCNRs, the definition of an occupant has a guest under it as well. So that would mean that a guest does not have to is considered an occupant. And as long as they're over the age of 18, they can be they do not have to have the owner with them.
Okay, so what you're telling me, what I'm hearing, and I apologize because I do not know every word of every document. Wish I did. Michelle, you're telling me that if an occupant has a guest and they are 19 years old, they may use the facilities per the CCNRs. Is that?
According to the way it is written, yes, because it says that it has to be an occupant over the age of 18. The definition of an occupant has guest in there as well.
And you're telling me that the rules and regulations say that?
This is the CCNR. Sorry, my phone just closed. Yeah, it says that you have, and the 2 emails that were sent out over the holidays reminding residents to be present with their guests while using the facilities. But we're being told no.
Okay. I will research it because since I'm hearing 2 different things here, let me research it.
Yeah, no, Michelle has been wonderful to deal with. I was attacked last year in NC1 bathroom. There was a person there that was definitely not a resident from Happy Trails. It was stealing all the toilet paper and paper towel. Approximately 9 p.m., I was in the shower. I was almost scared to come out. I heard them taking the stuff. I came out. I was lunged at. I called patrol. Patrol told me to call the police, but I did it once I got home because I was terrified. I screamed. My husband came to the bathroom. It was not good. it was very scary. And I will say I've been traumatized that now I've been using at 9 o'clock at night when we use the hot tub. I go in the men's with my husband to the next stall just because I'm scared. Fob system would be a great asset to our community. Another gentleman that is in the room, I don't know if he wants to stand up, and there's a lady that's in the room that last week in the hot tub at the town center, this resident was in the hot tub, starts speaking with the gentleman and asks him, where do you live in Happy Trails? Oh, I don't live here. My buddy works at the Gate Shack and he told me how to get in here and use the facilities.
Okay, I have a question, and you're going to have to forgive me.
Okay.
You're saying the hot tub at town center.
Town center. And then we have another resident in here that I said hi to that told me that this summer, while she was in the gym working out, she seen this guy and she said, you don't look like the desert rat. I don't recognize you. Do you live here? No, I come in daily to use the facilities.
Okay. And these incidents, as they happen, and first of all, I'm sorry that you were,
I'm your new neighbor. Nice to meet you, Jennifer.
I'm sorry that,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that that happened to you. But these incidents, when they happen, are you reporting them to management? Are you sending an email to Darlene saying at 9:05 da 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 so that she can address it?
I did send a letter last year when this happened. I don't know, Darlene, if I sent it directly to you. I think I just sent it.
It should go directly to Darlene, and Darlene's email is in every Friday newsletter. So that is where it needs to go. But I want to caution everyone, man, woman, it does not matter. If you feel threatened, your first call should be 911.
Yeah, and this would be good to go out on. I've been here 5 years. I did not know that patrol did not do security, and I think a lot of people misunderstand what patrol are. But I'd also like to see our patrol beefed up, like the people getting in. I would like to know also why now guests that are in visiting don't have to have a pass in their windshield any longer, because all of our guests have always had to have a thing stating that they are a guest, instead of just vehicles randomly.
And these are great ideas, great suggestions, and I agree with you that the people that work in the, I don't want to call it a guardhouse, but the guardhouse at the entrance, they are really not security. They are patrol. And so their duties are somewhat different than you would think of as a security person. They are a patrol person, which is why I really encourage two things. Number one, if anyone feels threatened at any point in time by anyone else, please call 911. And
I did not have a phone in the shower.
but, please call 911 as soon as you can. The second thing is, as soon as you are able to get to a phone, a laptop, whatever, make Darlene aware of the situation, because hearing about the situation a week later, a month later, doesn't give her that address it now ability. So anything that happens, please let her know as soon as possible.
What about fobs? Has it been brought? I spoke to Tradition, somebody that was part of getting the fob system put into Arizona Traditions. They stated that the cost was under $5,000. Bob Luby, that's an owner here, he owns a couple of lots. He just did it at his campground for this exact same reason. People driving in saying they're visiting, using the showers. He said it was very inexpensive. I know we do have more places than Arizona Traditions to use fobs, but fobs are accountability. If somebody is in there, you know who's in there, they can be dismantled when they leave here. I'm just wondering if this is something that we should be looking at investing into. I would feel safer.
I appreciate that. And what I would ask is that you email Darlene the name of the person that you spoke with at Traditions who said that Traditions got this for, did you say 4,000?
Under 5,000.
Under $5,000. So if you could email her that person's information and we could investigate to see what they have for under $5,000, because I know that BG&M has investigated, a fob, keyless entry at Happy Trails. And I'm not going to quote a price, but I will say that it was way more than 5,000. So if you could get that name of that person so we can start looking at it, that would be great. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. Jeff Matthews, 1792. I've got a couple of questions. Number one, where did and what was the interest in Happy Trails as a whole to investigate a 25-year restriction on the ranch for Class A's? Where did that come from? Because the oldest document we can find as to where it was started was with the DRC under Cindy, which is now our vice president, asked the DRC if they had any objection to removing the Class A restriction. So then I go to Bradley, and he tells me it's because it's hard to sell in the ranch. When I went back to Bradley, and says that 20% of the ranch sold in 2025, which would equal 389 lots having to sell in the rest of Happy Trails to equal how difficult it was to sell in the ranch. He then changed his tune and says, oh, it's because it's not in the PAD. The PAD, Planning Area Development document, has not existed since it moved from the county of Maricopa to the city of Surprise. So then Bradley looked into or contacted the city with a document. The city responded. All the city said was that they cannot find it. They cannot find any information. When I asked Bradley for that information, he gave me 2 pages of a 22-page document that was provided to the city. Okay, so number one, if the board, and the only way the branch owners, only 55 of the 2001, the only way we found out that the board was addressing this was when there was a Facebook post, and then I looked into and could not find any minutes in the DRC committee meetings recently to that, where prior to that, where you, Madam President, proposed a motion to remove the restrictions. There was I could not find any evidence of discussion in public record of the DRC reviewing that. And I don't, there's a lot of hearsay that goes along, so I won't get into it, other than I couldn't find any of that. So my question, and I want all of you to understand it, please pass this on. The only way we found out about it was through a social media post. And we found out about it the Friday before the meeting, before the board meeting. Then we're just looking for why do this. So what I wanted everyone to understand is that the board can do this to Happy Trail or to the ranch. Oh, let me back up. When I presented the sales side of it, because it's in the PAD, then we got a letter. One of our owners emailed Cindy, or the board. Cindy responded that they wanted to remove it because it was not in the PAD. The PAD that does not exist. It actually existed for 5 months in 2009 when the city approved it, and then the city repealed it. So they wanted to remove it, but they didn't realize that if they can't pick and choose what part of a document that does not exist, they can't remove that. So if they remove the ranch out of the PAD document that doesn't exist, they would have to remove the restrictions on the villas, the restrictions on the country club, and any other subject that the document addressed. So my goal in asking this question, where did it come from and who was to benefit from it? Hold on. They can do that to anybody, any area in the ranch without consulting. And up until this point, to tonight, there was absolutely no forum other than an email to Darlene to address for the ownership to address it. We got a 2-minute comment, which when I was commenting, miraculously, my microphone stopped working 40 seconds early and they wouldn't give me my time back. And that was your decision, Madam President. So that's my first question. I'll let you answer that, and then I have another one.
Okay, Jeff. First of all, the information that we had when the motion went before the board to remove the Class A restriction in the ranch came from the documents that were available to us and that were reviewed by the association's attorney. So the association's attorney had the documents, reviewed them, and said, based on these documents, you cannot limit the RV in the ranch to a Class A. So the information that we had at the time got that motion on the agenda. Now, that motion was tabled at the board meeting because at the very last minute before the board meeting, we received additional information. So before anything happened, before any discussion, the motion had already been tabled. Now, I would like to say that the ranch situation was a good wake-up call for the board, for management, because we discovered that we do not have all of the historical documents associated with Happy Trails. So the first thing that we have done is we are going to go out and we are going to get every recorded piece of paper that has anything to do with Happy Trails so that we have that information so that we do not make another mistake. Now, mistakes will be made. We have apologized. It was tabled, and everyone in the ranch received both an email letter and a written letter from the association's attorney stating that the Class A restriction was going to stand in the ranch because of a document that we did not know of at the time. I cannot answer anything beyond that.
Where did all of this, so what the owners out there are concerned about, and I want everyone here to be concerned, where did this action start? Why did this subject get brought up? And why was there never any conversation with the 55 owners that it applied to? In addition to that, when we asked for the documents that your legal counsel was reviewing, we were told we couldn't have them. And when I forced the issue with Bradley, he gave me 2 out of a 22-page document. That was it. So where did, and because as a retired law enforcement officer in an investigation, if you can't find a reason for the crime, and this is not a crime, but if you can't find a reason for the action, all you have to do is follow the money. Who was going to benefit by removing the ranch restriction, which the board had been enforcing for 25 years on a document now they say doesn't exist?
I cannot answer. I apologize. I see your point of view, but who benefits? I'm going to say who may benefit is a ranch owner who wants to sell, who does not have a Class A. And that's just off the top of my head. So, and
Well,
I'm sorry.
Let me answer that, please. You do not have to own a Class A to buy in the ranch. I can sell my personal property to my 18-year-old son. There is no restriction. My hand, oh, I'm sorry. So there is no restriction on what I can who I can sell my personal property to. There is a restriction if that individual wants to inhabit or even, I don't even know if the restriction is to come on the property. But if he wants to stay here, he must meet the restrictions. The restriction on, and even so far as if you have a house. There is no restriction on having to have, because the rest of Happy Trails, the CCNRs, state that you must have an RV on the lot unless you have a habitable structure. And then you can port your RV off. We've had owners buy in that we're told by real estate, so maybe Happy Trails needs to inform real estate that they must own. We've had people that wanted to rent, that the renters were told they must own and have it on the lot. That's not true. So, but the question, what I'm really, my whole point is, if the board can do this to the ranch, the board can choose and try to do this to anybody. And up until this point, there has been no forum on your direction, Madam President, for the members to be able to discuss with any of the board. So now she's saying the packet is available. If you have a question, you have to email Darlene. 3 days for us to, and how do we discuss it? So in the board meeting, you only have 2 minutes for a comment, and it says there is no questions and answers, there is no discussion. So there is no answer. I'm sure I will never get an answer as to why it was done. And the only reason we found that document, I'll tell you very honestly, is because one of our original owners had that, and there's actually a restriction in the Arizona State Real Estate Association restricting original land use. That is only one document that has been found that when it moved from Maricopa County to where everything for Happy Trails was lost, when it moved to Surprise, to the city of Surprise. To our knowledge, that's the only document that is still housed with Maricopa County. And just so everybody understands what that document says, it says that the only way the Class A restriction can be changed, it was with a 75% vote of the ownership of the ranch.
Jeff, I appreciate your comments. The board has apologized to the owners in the ranch for the misunderstanding. It has been cleared up. We are not infallible. We will make mistakes. We will own them, and we will apologize. Thank you. Next question.
My next question is about finances. Madam President.
Jeff, I'm going to.
So you're going to shut me off again?
No, I'm not. I'm going to come back to you after I let a few other people speak.
Okay. Double the budget.
Aston, Lot 13. I'm a 40-plus year owner at Happy Trails. I want to thank everybody for being here, those online who aren't able to attend. This issue with the ranch, if you have further questions, it might be confusing for us that don't live in the ranch. If you have questions, this affected all of us or could have. So find Jeff or find me, and I'll put you in touch with Jeff. PAD, PUD, housing, all of that can be confusing to us, but it is important. The way it was conducted is very questionable. I had a few issues. Everybody has touched on most of them. Jennifer, when people applaud after a comment, it's their way of communicating. I'm not picking on you personally, but you have restricted the communication with owners to the board. When someone says something and there's applause, it's their way of communicating that they're in agreement. So Jennifer, Darlene, there's a
This is
packet.
not for Darlene. These questions today are for me.
This question is about Darlene. There's communication that goes to Darlene, you said. So this question is for Darlene. I do write to you, and sometimes I get replies, sometimes I do not. Sometimes I get reply receipt. I'm in receipt of your email. That usually happens in 48 hours. And sometimes I don't get a reply after that. What is my recourse?
Okay, your recourse. There are two things, Mickey, going on here, and that's why I'm answering. The first thing that is going on is our legal counsel advised that if we were getting the same questions over and over, that we did not have to respond. HomeCo requires that their employees give a response and acknowledgement of receipt. So if you are not getting an answer to a question or an email that has not been asked and answered before
By me.
by whomever,
How would I know if Jeff sent an email to Darlene? Is Darlene not going to reply to me because Jeff sent an?
no, I'm
Okay.
talking about you.
Okay, so if I've sent 2 or 3 questions to her of the same thing, I don't do that. I don't believe I do. And if I do, she needs to say, Mickey, you've asked this question before.
Okay, your recourse. Look at the org chart. What is your recourse, Mickey?
I guess it would be Tamara. I have never been introduced or told to include Tamara in any of my correspondence. I questioned who is Tamara the first time she was brought up in a meeting, and I was not told. It was a planning meeting. I was told to be quiet.
Tamara would be your recourse.
Tamara.swanson@homeco.com probably. It's on front step somewhere. And I do have her correspondence on the end of letters.
And if you need it, you can email Darlene and she will give you Tamara's contact information.
So the board packet is going to now be available 2 weeks before the board meeting.
No, it's not.
Okay, the planning meeting happens 2 weeks before the board meeting now. not
That is
1 week.
correct.
When do the board members get their packet?
The board members will get their final board meeting packet the Friday before the board meeting on the following Thursday, when they have always gotten it. The difference will be that they will have had, Darlene will have had a week to get additional information. The board meeting packet will be available for owners to view in a notebook in the office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before the board meeting.
Okay, at the last planning meeting on the 23rd of December, there was a packet that the board members had. It was a preliminary packet because some of the motions got removed from it, but there was a packet at that time. So all of the board members that were present at that meeting got a packet. I don't believe Mr. Midkiff was at the meeting. So he will get his packet tomorrow.
He got his packet for that meeting electronically,
Okay, electronically, because he wasn't there.
as did everyone.
Okay, and the owners get to review that packet, which is more than just the agenda now, which
That
is
is
great,
correct.
which is great because it'll show all the information of the motion. But we get to see that only in the office. What if I am not here? What if there's owners who don't live here or who are traveling in those 3 days?
I answered this question already to the lady in the back.
And you said she was out of luck, I believe. It would only be
At
available.
this point in time, yes.
Okay, and to create a book, hard copy, you had to have printed it off of a computer page somewhere. So to put those documents in a file and have that available on front steps, to me would be a much easier endeavor than trying to create a packet that everybody has to line up and look at. And I don't know there's going to be a line. I do have a comment about the We Are Listening sessions. I'm guessing that you said in the past that was not going to happen. So, and they haven't been.
In order to reinstate the re-listening, the We're Listening sessions. And Mickey, I'm actually glad that you asked this because I want to address the We're Listening sessions. The We're Listening sessions were an absolutely magnificent idea in their truest form, which was a small group of Happy Trails owners sitting around a table with 1 or 2 directors chatting, bringing concerns, whatever. Then they turned into, I'm going to call it a nightmare. The board sat at a table, the owners sat out here and literally attacked the board. It was no longer a we're listening, it was a we're attacking. In order for the we're listening sessions to be reinstated, all of the 7 directors would have to agree to attend some of the sessions. We can, in the purest sense, 2 directors, because you don't want, 3 directors could, but you don't want 4. That's a quorum, and that violates state statute. But 3 directors could meet with a group, 3 more could meet with a group, but all 7 directors have to agree to the premise.
And I think you continued on and said that these town hall meetings would now be our once a month opportunity.
The town hall meetings will be the once-a-month opportunities for every owner, even the residents, not just owners, residents to bring questions and concerns. I'm starting it off with the first town hall meeting of the year by answering any question. I have painted a target on my
And
chest.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I really am. I'm not targeting you, but you can sense there's some frustration.
And that's
I'm-
fine, Mickey.
And I'm very.
The target is a joke.
No, okay, I hope it is, because I'm very passionate about this, obviously, 40 years.
And candidly, I probably should put one on my back
I know,
because I wouldn't see it coming.
exactly. I've been there, Jennifer. I know what you're saying. You said a comment earlier, I need Darlene to please verify. You said there were 2001 owners,
Yes,
and I don't believe that's true.
it is
We
not
have
true because we have
2001
multiple
lots.
owners.
Darlene, this conversation came up on social media. Can you please tell me approximately later how many owner residents we do have? If it's 3,500, 3,700, 4,002. And that's not my question, but you said 2001 owners.
We have 2001 lots,
Okay.
which means we have 2001 owners, which means if and Mickey, you know
I
this,
do know. We have
if a lot has two owners, only
one.
one votes.
one vote when there's
So
an
we have
election.
2001
Right.
votes.
And I just wanted to clarify because you did say 2001 owners, and I want to make sure, and it had come up in the past. My question for today has to do with the woman who said there's people coming in to the shower area. There's people in our jacuzzis, our hot tubs who don't live here. You also have told me before, call the police when you feel threatened. And I just want to reiterate that we do not have security. We have patrol. I see them around midnight going up towards my street, turning around, going back. So take it for what it is. I've had a conversation recently with Bradley Gonzalez, operations manager. It started with the fitness center between Christmas Eve and January 3rd, whenever employees came back from vacation. There was a long period of time when management wasn't here. So when I was in the fitness room and there was 3 children hopping from the bicycles to the treadmills to the stepper, I called patrol. Patrol said they had been up earlier, they would come back. By the time they came back, the woman had said, come on kids, let's go drive the golf cart. So patrol went the direction they went. I went into the billiards room on another day and there was 2 young children playing with, I'm guessing, their grandfather. And I said to him, are you aware that children under 18 are not allowed in the billiards room? And he said, there's a sign on the door that says they can be. The children were using one hand cue stick to spear the balls. They were not respective of the equipment. Those tables are $10,000 to $15,000 tables. I said to him, there's a pool table. If anybody doesn't know, there's a pool table at NC1. That's a family table. It's not as high quality. And he said, yeah, we played there. We're moving all around. We're trying everything. I said to him, if there's a problem, you will be responsible. And they finished out. They started to walk away. I said, please put away your equipment, cover the table like you found it. And they came back and did it. When I communicated with Bradley Gonzalez, actually, I communicated with Bradley after he was talking with Russ before a BGM meeting. And Bradley said to Russ, children can go into the billiards room. There's no restrictions. It's a common area. And all the pools are open to anybody who wants to use them. We have a hierarchy of governing documents. You know this better than me. We have CC&Rs and we have rules and regulations. 12.18, our rules and regulations say that no one under the age of 18 can be in the billiards room, in the fitness room, or in any club room or building that houses a club room, period. There are rules about the pools. Town Center Pool is the only pool where you can be under 18.
Mickey,
But the comment was, and this is an ongoing issue because the billiards room is being told that it is totally open to children. And Bradley said it's a common area. He did quote me that section that you read, And it talks about the homeowners having the ability to have a lifestyle here. It talks about the association being able to limit the number of people in an area, to limit the use of that area. And we do have a rule and regulation. Barb Fugelberg, you know that rule, 12.18. And I don't know why that is being changed right now. The billiards, and I'm going to speak for somebody who might not be here, but the billiards club members are being told that your room, your pool tables are going to be recovered, but now your room is open to everybody all the time. It is an amenity. Fitness center is an amenity. The clubs are a designated space, but we have a rule that says no one under 18 in those areas. And if so, then John, they're going to come up to the sawmill. I just don't think that children under 18 should be in some areas.
And Mickey, I've already addressed this.
How
that
have
we are-
you addressed it? You haven't addressed it to me.
We are going to review it. We are going to see where the rules and regulations might be different than the CCNRs.
I did hear that.
Okay, so I have already addressed this. I'm addressing it to you that we will review, we will see the differences, and we will correct to what needs to happen. So
Coming from the glass room people, they're saying that all of our rules and regulations are going to be changed. I'm just saying there's rumors going around.
Well,
There's stuff going
rumors,
around. And
rumors.
I only take what management sends me, and it says children can go into the billiards room, and I have the documentation. Bradley said all the pools, all common areas.
I will review. I cannot answer this now,
Okay.
Mickey. You are wanting me to stand here and to give
No,
you an
I
answer,
want it to be looked at, and I want it to be
but I already
enforced.
said that when the lady back there brought it up. So I've already answered that it will be reviewed.
Are rules and regulations not being followed, not being enforced?
I do not know the answer to that, but I will investigate, Mickey.
Okay, because there is some in there about the pool use also.
I know that I promised Jeff I would come back to him, so I'm going to go back there now. Oh, we have some up front. So Jeff, if you will bear with us a minute.
Donna, 379.
You're gonna have to wait. I'm sorry.
My number one thing is Jennifer.
I'm here. I'm here.
Hello.
Hi, Donna.
Hi. Okay, number one thing is I know the BGNM was supposed to look into key fobs last board people's, and nothing is coming back. Key fobs would solve so much of this problem because I was at the gym this past summer and there was a guy, and I knew he wasn't old enough, always coming in at the same time as me, riding that bike. And I thought, my daughter says, Mom, ask, because she was with me, because I'm responsible. And so I said, hey, I see you in here all the time. My name's Donna in 379. What lot number do you live in? He goes, oh, I don't live here.
And
And you know what Donna did? Donna says, well, I'm sorry, you need to get off that bike right now and get out of here. And I made sure I took a picture of his license plate. And he did. But the fact is, if there was a key fob to allow people in that lived here, we wouldn't be having all these issues, and poor Jocelyn would not have been attacked. Because, I love her. And none of this would happen. So I think that someplace in our budget, key fob should be an absolute must. And I know Brad doesn't like them, but I'm sorry, Brad, you're only one board member.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Since you've been asking me questions all day, Dawn, everyone has, not you. Do you believe that the key fob motion should come to the board from the BGNM committee or from the safety committee? We have two committees.
I think both, actually.
They
I think
can't-
the BGNM and the
It's-
safety committee should get together and talk about it. And then both of them should bring it to the board. That way, then there's nobody saying, well, it didn't come from safety and it didn't come. And you know, my husband's on the safety committee and he hears from me all the time.
Okay, I was only asking you that because the key fobs are a two-pronged approach. The key fobs are for the safety of the people here, and yet it's BG&M because it's on the building. So I was just asking to see where your mind
But if
was
you
on that.
Think about it.
Oh, I
If
think about
we
it all
have-
the
If
time.
we have those key fobs, they are going to, yes, they're for safety, but yes, they're also going to protect the billiard room. They're also going to protect all the gym equipment that's in there, and it will and stop people from coming and using our pools. And you guys need to find out who that guy was who let him in. But it would also protect everybody here and our precious equipment that we spend a lot of money on.
You're right.
So I think the key fobs has to be brought up in the board by them and have them discuss it and decide what they're going to do, because yes, it's a cost, but so is replacing our equipment and fixing our jacuzzis and our pools. And children should not be in the jacuzzis, by the way. It's a health risk for them, but that's just me saying it. And let's just get it done. I mean, come on. It was brought up. BG&M sat on it. I don't know why, but it needs to be addressed.
And I would say, Donna, to you, if it is a concern, most of the people here understand that motions, proposals start at the committee level. Go to the BG&M committee, and Doug always says, are there any comments? Make your comment.
That's great. That's fine. But there have been times that I have been in, like the safety committee, and nobody was allowed to make a comment. Well, that was before Barb took over. I
Okay,
don't know
well,
about Barb's
let's not go there. Okay,
But I'm just saying that sometimes we're not allowed to open our mouths. And as owners, we should be listened to and we should be allowed to open our mouths.
actually, we will be conducting a training for the committee chairs. So there's going to be a committee chair training, which I hope will address concerns of the committees, concerns of the committee chairs, and concerns of the owners. So stay tuned.
Doug Doty, lot 630. I happen to be on both of the committees that you spoke about. I belong to the safety committee. I just got on early summer. I am the chair for the BGM. Got on that committee shortly after. And now I am the chair. And we have looked, as of recent, at fobs and different types of gate enclosure, door enclosure. These are a lot more than $5,000. Let's put it that way. We are going to be addressing it again next Tuesday, and it's one of our top priorities. We had to, I as a chairperson belong to a workshop that the board and all the committee chair people belong to, and we've been getting training, and we're going through processes. And one of the processes that we're trying to improve on is the expediency of getting these policies changed or whatever. It is a long process. It surprises me it's taking so long. But again, I've only been on here 7 months, I'll say, and wasn't very active at all prior to that. So I'm trying to contribute to get that policy and the processes faster. And every time we go and try to make that improvement, we run into a speed bump, not a brick wall, but a speed bump. And the process has to change a little bit. We have a lot of great ideas. It's led by Jennifer and board members and Homeco. And one thing with the new calendar year, fiscal calendar year, moving a couple months, now we have, after a lot of this information, now we know what the process is on how to get the monies, being it asset or reserve, and how the process works better. So now we're going to start doing that Tuesday with a couple of our hot topics. Gate fobs and entry fobs are one of them. We just don't know right now how much it's going to cost. We're going to have to put a rough estimate, and it's a very rough estimate. We have some idea, but how much it's going to cost. And this could cost $150,000, $250,000. We don't know, because we don't know what all curtails into the installation of these. Just because you put a fob up to something isn't that simple. It's the process of making that fob work for that entity in that door or the gate. So there's a lot of stuff we need to review. Rome was not built overnight. And there are a lot of things that, and I've stated this at other committee meetings I've been at, we're 40 plus years old. Some of this stuff should have been taken care of, or started anyway, 20, 25 years ago, because everything was running good. Now it's starting to slide downhill. People coming in here that are non-residents, that's sliding downhill. And our infrastructure, it's sliding downhill. We have to decide what, where, and when we can stop this downhill slide. And it can slide fast, but our process is very slow, and in some cases limited because of finances. Practicality, we can throw all kinds of practical things out there. Easier said than done, though. And I have to agree with you, because the fact that it's going to be our livelihood. We have more amenities in this resort than practically every one of them in Arizona. And to maintain them now, because they have slid downhill somewhat, that's a big catch-up. And it's putting a lot of strain on a lot of our committees, and we are trying to work together as co-committees. And we are working in conjunction with safety from the BGM point. We're talking to each other. And we're working together, and we're trying to get it resolved as fast and as simple as we can. Don't put it all on the messengers.
Okay,
Well, I know you possibly know. A lot of other people don't.
I want to thank Doug. But Doug has given me the opportunity to say something that every single person here needs to hear, and needs to hear me say it more than once. We started a project, this group of the board and the committee chairs, of all the projects that all the people wanted in Happy Trails. After taking out the duplicates, reviewing the list, there are 272 projects that people in Happy Trails would like to see done. Let me say that number again. 272 different projects. So after we got all the projects, step 2 was prioritizing. And maybe the priority is whatever, but after we hit that priority from BG&M, from safety, from wherever, then we have to look at, do we have the money? So it is a process that started in June. It is a process we are working through. And I want to say, thankfully, for the first time ever, at least all of the projects are listed. So we at least know Okay, here's 272 of them. Let's prioritize them. Let's see the money. So great progress has been made. So Doug, thank you for that opening. Okay. Okay.
Hi, thank you. Angie, lot 5, Angelina Ganzuk, lot 5. Is this better? Gotta really get it close. Angelina Ganzuk, lot 536. Thank you. I wanted to get an update on the tree status about cutting down the olive trees. I know that you said that a lot of these trees have been neglected for 40 years. And I could tell you if we could eliminate the idea and it doesn't cost us money to go taking out trees that weren't cared for. And I'm very passionate about this to the point where I envision myself chaining myself to these olive trees.
I have a question
Because it's
for
the only
you.
light also, it's a beautification. It's the only light. It's very dark getting in from the front
Okay,
gate.
I have a very serious question for you. If you chain yourself to an olive tree, may we wrap you in lights so everyone can see you?
Wow. I hope you can all like put that on Facebook. That's really kind of crude. And
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. At this point in time, we are looking to correctly prune the olive trees. They have not been pruned correct. They're supposed to. I'm
so
not
does
a
that mean you're not going to take them out?
They're not coming out unless they're dead.
And would you be replacing them with another olive tree or palm tree so we have that beautification?
What will happen will be that will be made.
Keep hearing the speakers. It's not you.
Good desert type tree material. Or, I mean, I can't tell you what we're going to replace them with. I am not an arborist. So
But a real tree, not tree material. What's a tree material? Like an actual.
I believe there are literally 2 or 3 dead olive trees. So.
Okay, and I just wanted to second, third, and fifth the emotion that I did not know that was going on, and I have seen really strange people about the attack. I've been here a long time by myself through the holidays. Sketchy things too.
No, there's still a town hall meeting.
These areas, and it is very concerning. And I think that absolutely our safety.
Jennifer's just running around by herself.
Thank you.
Putting out fires and creating fires.
Safety start.
Shut up.
That is a major problem. Safety does start at the front gate. But that said, I am going to encourage absolutely every single person who feels unsafe or who feels something is happening that shouldn't be to call 911 if you don't feel safe, or to let Darlene know immediately about something that is happening that shouldn't be. Okay, I see a
Roberta
microphone.
Ernest, 712-996. I'd like to know why you chose to close the 2027 annuity before the maturity date.
Good question. And I thank you for that question. Bit of history here. I'm going to come back up here. There is a bit of history with this. Many of you know it, some of you don't. And I'm going to start with the history. In 2019, the board of directors passed a resolution that allowed Happy Trails to invest in things other than CDs or FDIC insured vehicles. And that's 2019. In 2022, basically 3 years later, the finance committee said, let's get some annuities because they will give us a greater yield, and annuities were purchased. In 2024, the board put out some changes to the CC&Rs, and one of the changes to the CC&Rs was to allow investments such as annuities and bonds that were not FDIC insured. That particular change to the CCNRs did not pass. The owners voted that they wanted all investments to be FDIC insured, i.e. CDs. So that said, we have these two annuities out there. One expired September 19th. Sorry, thank you. I like to say expired, and I know that's the wrong word. One of these annuities matured on September 19th, 2025. And the board agreed that we are now in late spring, early summer, and the board agreed to let that annuity reach maturity and then cash it out, not have it roll over. Okay, we are now going to be in compliance with our CCNRs because that annuity is going to be cashed out. Okay, now we have the 2027 one. The original motion before the board on the 2027 annuity was to let the 2027 annuity run until September 20th, 2025. At that point, to take 10% out without penalty because we were in a new annuity year, to take 10% out without penalty, and we also reduced our penalty by 1 percentage point because we were in a new annuity year. Now, so the original motion was, since we're letting the one that matures in 2025 run to September 19th, let's let the 2027 one run and address it. That was the discussion in the original motion. When it actually came to a motion in the board meeting, the motion was amended to close out, cash out the 2027 annuity as quickly as possible. And the board voted unanimously to do that. I voted to do it. If you're asking me my reason for voting to do it, my reason for voting to do it was to show continuity in the board and to show a unified board. That's about all the history that I have on it, but that is why I voted that way.
Jocelyn Harpel, 1233. I would like to know, when people do sell in Happy Trails, what happens to their transponder?
Their transponder is supposed to be shut down.
And is this done?
Yes.
No, it is not. I ran into somebody in front of me using it the other day that used to be our neighbor 4 years ago that sold in here. And I said, how are you still using your transponder? And he said, it's never been shut down.
Okay, if you run into that and you know who it is, please immediately alert Darlene as to who the person is, or get a license plate number or something. Darlene doesn't know unless you tell them that you've witnessed this. You know, she doesn't know. You have a microphone. Go.
I have a quick comment. I'm all in favor of the FOBs for security reasons. I think it's a great idea. Sounds like a long process. So in the meantime, if the CCNR and the rules and regulations about guests not being with the owners don't agree, we need to make them agree. So company of owners or occupants need to be with that person in the pools, in the fitness rooms, in the billiards rooms, all over, because what recourse do we as owners when you see somebody in the fitness room and he's 25 years old, you know he is, what recourse do we have to address them even politely, you know, hey, oh, I'm sorry, I'm Mary Bannock, lot 1599, to say, hey, I'm Mary Bannock, 1599, you know,
Move.
what lot are you in? We have no recourse, so we need to get those two things to jive, because it does sound like the FOBs is going to be a more, you know, problematic to get started. So
Thank you.
people are using our amenities that are paying for them.
Yes. Thank you, and I appreciate your comments. I would like to make a little bit of a further comment on that. If you are looking at the rules and regulations versus the CCNRs will always trump the rules and regulations because they are higher in the hierarchy of documents. Now, rules and regulations are often created for communities to further explain or further clarify CCNR language, and that's what we have to look at. But just so you know, in the hierarchy, the CCNRs will rule, but we will ensure that we get that taken care of. Thank you. I have a microphone. I'll come back. I have a microphone over here. Hi, Debbie.
Oh, Jennifer. Debbie Heim, lot 1157. I must have put the wrong date on my calendar, so I was late coming in. And, okay, is that better? Okay. Anyway, I would like to make a comment that as you're going around, you said, well, I've already discussed this and stuff. I would like to make a suggestion with a meeting this long, especially where it's different people with different opinions. Could we possibly get just even a summary of the topics and where to go to should the person or people not be satisfied with what's going on here or not know about it in my case, just as an overall thing so that we have some idea in general, because not everybody's on their computers or have all this stuff on their phones.
Darlene is always an option for questions or concerns. You can always go to the front office where Michelle is, and you can ask Michelle to get a message to Darlene if you're not on your computer or your phone. And I do not know what topics we're going to come up today.
Well,
So
that's what I mean. I'm just saying a general topic, that not the details or anything, but if that way, if people, there's been so many things just since I walked in here. And that's why I was suggesting whatever the topic is, and then just where the people can go instead of bothering people in the office all the time, because they're busy too.
they are busy, but it is their job. So,
Okay.
Thanks, Debbie. Okay, hi, Michelle.
Michelle Kavanaugh, lot 781. I wanted to just mention about the safety and the fact that they're coming in from the front gate. I use Roy Rogers. That's the easy gate pass. And I have sent pictures to security, and there are plenty of owners here that are allowing people to come in on their pass. I've been on the back entrance where there's a vehicle that can't, the arm will not go up, and somebody will pull out and pull right behind them to allow them in. I've sent the pictures. I neglected to send them to you, Darlene, and that's where some of this is happening as well. That Roy Rogers, I've said it many times, I wish we could view the cameras, because I don't know everyone that lives here, but I have lots of license plate tags. Some of them are complete visible and others are not, where people are letting people in that back gate. And if they have a vehicle that has a transponder, they should be able to come in. If they're not able to come in, wait until they back up. People pull in behind them and let them through. So we're guilty as charged here. We're saying people are coming in and that the front gate's not doing their job. Well, we're not doing ours when we're allowing them to come in as well.
Thank you.
Steve Funk at lot 1600. I just want to address a couple of points on the key fobs and the transponders. We're talking about putting in transponders, or not transponders, into key fobs. Okay. What's to keep key fobs from working similar to the way the transponders are working today to get into Happy Trails? Right now, I know for a fact that there are people that rented here 4 years ago. Their transponders still work on their cars. They moved over to the Grand and they're still coming in. They shouldn't be. I know that. You know, I'm not the only one that has seen this. Why isn't our system being updated to a point where they are being deactivated? Where is that glitch? It should not be up to the residents to play policemen for their neighbors, because that's what you're asking us to do. If you see somebody coming in that's not supposed to be here, let the police or let the gate know or patrol know so that that can be handled. That's not my job as a resident. That's Darlene's job or somebody's job in administration to get that done. Our systems are out of date. They're not adequate to do this. What's to keep that exact same thing from happening if we go to key fobs? When people leave, they still have a key fob. They can still come in. It's going to happen unless our systems change.
Good point.
I have been encountered where in compliance, compliance has told my neighbors that I was complaining about their non-compliance, that they had problems with some of their CCNRs. It is not up to compliance to expect me as a resident to be policing what my neighbors are doing or not doing appropriately. That's compliance job. They need to do a better job. Don't leave it to me as a resident. It makes for a very unhappy relationship in the neighborhood if somebody thinks that I'm telling them, and I'm not doing it. I won't do it. I won't turn my neighbors in. That's their job in Homecoming.
You are correct, Steve. You're correct on 2 points. The first point is exactly who's to say it wouldn't happen with the fobs. So obviously that is a glitch that needs to be fixed. The second thing is no, we do not want to report on our neighbors. That is the responsibility of compliance. There are some things that compliance cannot see. And I need to stress that, you know, there's some things are not visible. If there is a dog that is barking all night, if there is music that starts at 9 p.m. and goes until midnight, those are things compliance can't see. And those are things that management needs to be aware of so that they can send a, hey, we have a quiet time, it starts at this time, whatever the case may be. But just to clarify that not all is visual. That was the only thing I was wishing to do. Let's go here and then go down there.
Okay, Sandy Green, lot 1607. Can you tell me where we are or where we are not as far as beautification plans for the resort? I go to the landscape committee meetings. Seems like something's going to happen, then it doesn't. Yeah, we're going to do memory pots. We're not. Can I buy one? Can I not? What's going on? Are we spending money? Are we not? Are we ripping plants out? Where exactly are we?
Good question. Actually, it's an excellent question. And it's part of the reason that we are going to have a training for committee chairs to help them with the process of getting things from start to finish. We have committees These committees are to bring researched proposals to the board for a vote. And we have had a bit of a disconnect. So we are going to have some training of our committee chairs so that they have a better path, a faster path, and an exact process to get something to the board for a vote.
So for instance, we have all our buildings. They haven't been painted forever. It is what I would think a reserve item. It's at term life. We've seen the paperwork, whatever. Why are our buildings not getting painted? If we have a reserve fund, is that zero life? What's going on with that?
That is another good question. And the painting of the buildings is, I believe, a number 3 priority on our master list of priorities, which means that the painting of the buildings will be addressed as the BGNM committee meets. Thank you. I see. Hi, Kathy.
Kathleen Connor, 1312. My question goes, I guess, then to communication. Because as I am sitting here and I'm listening to the fact that we're not supposed to talk to our board members who we as residents, I'm saying, elected these people to represent us. The people who voted for you to represent them on certain issues, not to shut us down from the other ones who they voted for. How are we going to get communication? There's nothing out there to say what's going on with the pool. The pool had a crack, or did it have a crack? The beautification process, nothing out there to tell us what's going on with that. If we see our board member, we go up and say, hey, what's going on with yada, yada, yada. Now you want us not to talk to them? That's shutting us down, and we didn't, or the people who voted for you did not vote for you to shut us down. There should be open communication. We should be able to talk to our board members who we voted in.
I agree that you should be able to speak with the board members that you voted in. I agree that there should be a venue for it. I still will not today or any day agree on a one-on-one conversation about association business. I cannot agree with that because of the danger of misinterpretation. But we talked about we're listening sessions, and I explained that all 7 directors would have to agree to do them. I am kicking off the 2026 town hall meetings today as an open forum for questions. They will continue to be an open forum for questions. So that will be one thing that should have the ability for more communication. Okay. I promised to get back to Jeff, and he is still patiently sitting here. So I want to get to Jeff, and then Barbara, I know you've had your hand up for a while. We will come to you. Here comes the microphone. Michael is bringing the microphone.
Thank you for getting back to me. So I want to start off with saying thank you for starting the communication channel again that has been shut down so abruptly. Eye rolls or not, but it was.
You're welcome.
And if you're educating the board members, the directors, educate them that if somebody comes up to them and say, this is my opinion as a homeowner, this is not the opinion of the board. That would resolve everything. And then they could have then 2 homeowners could have a conversation. Now, if that other homeowner happens to be a board member and they take that information, but their personal opinion, you're stifling their personal opinion about it. But if they just make the questioning homeowner know that this is not the board speaking. So that, and the rest of the questions I have, I'm just going to table because they're not that urgent. They're pointed about double the spending on budget things. But I'll wait till for me, just because I see that there's a lot of people that we're losing I think it's important that the information get out to the majority of the owners. And I learned a long time ago that the brain can only absorb as much as the butt can handle. And it looks like there's a lot of owners that either have other appointments or their butt just can't handle it anymore. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Barb.
I just want, this is Barb Fugelberg, Lot 205. I'm currently on the Safety Committee as the chair. I just wanted to add a couple of things that has come up today about residents coming in who shouldn't be coming in, or that the gate is allowing them to come in. What I would ask of all of you, and this is not the complete resolution, but an issue is that many of you have not updated the number of people you've listed as a permanent guest or a permanent person who can come in on gate access. So I ask for those of you who do have the app for gate access, or you call the gate, that you update that to make sure that those people who are coming in are the ones you want coming in. I had a situation where my husband's cousin, he's on the list. They come every March, they rent someplace else, and they come in here to visit us. I get alerted the first time they come in, but I don't get alerted every other time. And I want to know that. Clean the house, you know, that kind of stuff. But what I found out was that the gate was actually giving them a 2-week pass when they came in. And that's not what I want. So I know that we've got issues with gate access that we need to fix. But first and foremost, we as individual lot owners should double check who we've got listed on them and maybe only make them a temporary, a 1-day pass, so that you are aware of people coming in. The other thing I want to reiterate what Jennifer said about when there is an issue, that you call the police, that you call 911 if you feel you're being attacked or something is going on. We in the Safety Committee do look at the community crime map every month to see the issues that are affected within Happy Trails. The only issues that show up are then on that map are things that come from the police. If they've been called in here, they file a report. So we don't know the exact lot that they came to, but we know the region that they came into and why they came in. So if there's more issues occurring, we need to know that. We only know that from that. Secondly, we also would know that from, if it did come to management's attention, they would alert us, and we haven't gotten anything like that recently. And I'm assuming that they haven't gotten anything like that to alert us. So please make sure that if you do believe a crime's occurred, to notify that. And I also want to, I agree with Steve Funk about the fact that residents do not want to be snitches on every other people, but when we talked about or on their neighbors, I agree completely with that. But if you do see something, I would recommend, and this has happened in the past, that they at least would alert the board member, and the board member could mention it to compliance and get your name out of it. We know that there are things occurring that many of you, and maybe even me, have taken a blind eye to. We know that there are sometimes 3 people on a lot. We know that there may be a 4-year-old grandchild living with someone because no one else, the parents are incarcerated or whatever. But you don't want to tattle because you're afraid of someone getting in trouble. But our rules are no, only 2 people on a lot. And there's other things that many of us are taking a blind eye to. So again, try to figure out a way that you can alert management or a board member of something that you know is going on. And our safety committee meetings are the third Thursday of the month at 10:30, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
In the Manzanita room. Thank you.
Thank you. There was a gentleman over here in the back row who had his hand up for quite some time. And it's one of those things, if you're in the back row. Okay.
My name's Todd Box. I'm at 1527. I came to the meeting today with one particular thing in my mind, that I'm leaving today with a whole bunch of questions. I don't understand the accountability to, I'll take that under advisement. When you have the next town hall meeting, will you report back on what you're taking under advisement?
Sure.
Okay, because I've come to these meetings a lot. We've been here, this is our 7th season. And I came to these meetings a lot, and I hear a lot of that. I understand you can't answer a question right now. I get it. What I don't understand is we never hear back when you don't answer the question right now. Okay? And I'm not picking on you.
I know, but let me just say, that's why today, for today's meeting, anything that couldn't be answered, Darlene is recording, and those answers will go out. As far as under advisement, and sir, if you could correct me if I'm wrong, under advisement, we want to look at the CCNRs and the rules and regulations to get them matching. And we also want to take under advisement the transponders that have not been shut down, some issues. And I know that Darlene has been taking notes because regrettably, I cannot remember everything while I'm speaking. So please go on.
I got you. Great. I'll go back to those transponders for just a second. Every year when those of us that leave in the summer, in the spring, and go to our other residents, we all are requested to turn in a leave form, right?
Yes.
So when a person sells, what form did they turn in that tells you that they sold?
What happens when a home sells in Happy Trails? There is a checklist that management has to go through before the final deed transfer. Now, that is incumbent upon the real estate agent to make sure that happens. And if it's a cash sale, owner to owner, that, many circumstances.
So my question comes down to, they should then be eliminated from our system.
Yes.
As far as transponders or potentially any future key fobs, correct?
That is
should be a
correct.
simple fix to me. Go back to the key fobs for a second. 2 years, maybe it was 3 years ago, there was a little discussion about key fobs or cards, whatever it happens to be. I look at this in a way that allows us, those of us that pay our HOA dues on a monthly basis, to have access to our facilities. Not allows all of our new neighbors on the south side of Bell Road to be able to come and access our facilities, not to allow former owners or residents here to access our facilities, but us. And I also believe or agree with whoever the gentleman was that said it's not our responsibility to police that. We need help from the people that are letting them come through the front gate. My question with that, and I know this is a personnel question, so you may not be able to answer it. When we have new employees at the front gate, or even old employees at the front gate, what is our training like as to our rules, regulations, CCRs, and above that allow that they being the patrol gate, understand or are given the knowledge to understand what they can and can't or are and aren't supposed to do?
It is a good question, and I cannot answer it because I am not involved in that training. But if the training is not in depth, then it certainly needs to be bumped up and they need to be trained. There are, our CCNRs are this thick, our rules and regs are this thick, our DRs, but what they need to be trained on is that which is applicable to entry into Happy Trails.
I also have one other comment about the wrong people coming in. A lot of times if you do feel your safety and concern, you do call 911. But there is another number, you call that the non-emergency number for the Surprise Police Department. I've called them probably 40 or 50 times. And Darlene knows all about what I'm talking about. And the thing is you do get response, but you don't take them away from whatever they happen to be on emergency basis at the time. So I believe that our responsibility is not to patrol our own streets. It's not. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to, after this gentleman's comments, Darlene, can you please include in this week's Friday newsletter that number for people because maybe everyone does not have it? Thank you. Okay, we'll have Darlene included in the newsletter. Thank you, Mickey. Sir.
My name is Mel Hinterlong. I live at 365. We talked a lot about key fobs. I believe key fobs are going to be obsolete in the not distant future. I go to the airport and go through security with facial recognition. That will solve a lot of problems. The person who opens the door for somebody else, the face isn't there. I think it's probably inexpensive compared to fobs, but I believe it's the future. And I think we would be wise to invest more dollars in facial recognition than supplying fobs. And then I go there and I forgot my fob, or I forgot my card. Facial recognition is unbelievable, and it's very accurate today. As I say, I go to the airport, I have a passport. They don't even look at the passport anymore. They look at your face, and it's instant. Just a suggestion.
Thank you. I don't pay much attention to traveling like that because I'm so concerned to make certain that my carry-on is not too big, etc. So thank you for that input.
There's one here in the back.
Hello. Okay. Steve Kinney, lot 987. And I just thought I'd give you an opportunity to dispel a rumor that I hear from people that are close.
Close to me?
Not-
There's one person close to me, and that's my husband. So
But
go
anyway,
ahead.
Okay. I understand that you may have a penchant for contacting the attorney a lot. And
Yes.
I know it costs a lot of money.
It does.
Does it cost every time you contact the attorney?
Let's talk about the attorney because that's a really good question. Happy Trails has an attorney, legal counsel, and yes, it does cost every time we speak to Curtis.
How much?
How much every time? It's a 15-minute increment. I don't know. But in order to reduce attorney costs, Darlene and I talk to Curtis at the same time. So it's not two calls. So we coordinate calls to reduce costs. One thing that has happened is that for many years, Happy Trails was kind of a do-it-yourself community. And they wrote resolutions and the board passed them without ever putting attorney eyes on them. That particular practice is what got us in trouble with the annuities. If an attorney had put eyes on our investment policy, none of that would have ever happened. So the current board is working diligently to clean up any resolutions to make certain that they follow our documents, state statute, case law, so that we do not make a fatal mistake like that again. And that costs money, but we need to, it's a must do to get it done. The other thing is we have owners that bring us, questions may be the wrong word. We have owners that bring us comments from whatever their history and area of expertise is. And in order to be sure that we are answering them correctly, we do go to legal counsel for advice because we do not want to give bad information when someone comes to us with concerns from their history.
So, okay, so let me ask you this. Since you've taken over as president of the board, has our attorney fees gone up
Yes, they have.
substantially?
Yes, they have.
That's what I thought.
And the reason for that, sir, is because I am not an attorney. I am not an attorney, and I will not make a ruling that an attorney should make. Darlene is not an attorney, Bradley's not an attorney, and Tamara Swanson is not an attorney. Nor am I an insurance expert, nor are they. And that's, I'm not talking, sir, I apologize. I apologize. Mickey, I believe you have a microphone.
I do. Mickey Aston, lot 13, still 40-year owner. Haven't moved. Over 40, 1985. A couple of years ago, I had a meeting with Darlene. I believe Kathy was there, the past president was there, and we talked about security, not patrol. and we talked about security cameras potentially being implemented if the Front Steps program was going to stay. It was a sub add to the Front Steps. It would read the license plate. It would take information automatically. Is that still a possibility? Are we going to keep Front Steps?
At this time, we are going to keep Front Steps.
Okay, if you would look at that again as we look at Front Steps and security, I would appreciate that. This community sometimes gets thought of as a gated community, and it is not gated. We have someone checking people who come in the front gate. We have had horrible crimes in here. It was 1999, but we did have a kidnapping and we did have a murder. And that was 99. This is now, and we are having people in our hot tubs on a regular basis. People in this community, it becomes commonplace. And we should not be the confrontation that happens out at the pool or the pool hall. So to have better overseeing at the gates would be so important to our security. I wanted to change the topic, one of my topics. I want to thank the board members who have been diligent this year. I'm just talking this year, who have been questioning motions, who have been questioning information, statistics, data, cost, contracts. I think it was Bradley who said a year ago to me that our contracts were reviewed by the lawyer, the attorney, and I've just found out recently that he is overseeing our contracts now. So I don't know where that happened, what was happening in the past. I want to say thank you to the board members for their volunteering and doing their best to oversee this community. I want to remind everybody that we have an election coming up. It's a time now to turn in your applications until the 12th of January, I believe, at 3:30, Darlene. It's being advertised as 2 positions, and I have questioned why we don't have 3 positions open. The position that was vacated, that the board removed Greg Sherman this past summer from the board, was filled by an appointment during the summer, during about a 1-week period. It was appointed by John Chilcote behind me. I was told at the time by Homeco Tamara that that position would only be filled until the annual meeting, that it was just to fill the position until then. And that was according to state statutes. I have the documentation from Tamara. State statutes say that that position is only filled until the next election or the annual meeting. And I've questioned management why that is not an open position. The response I got was a quote from our CCNRs that was
Bylaws.
not, that was, you're right, it was the bylaws, I believe, but it was, no, it was the CCNRs. I got something back from the CCNRs and it was not correct. It was not the correct version, the recorded version. It was the proposed version from the last election, and none of the CCNRs were passed last time. So I've got that question pending with Darlene, why we don't have 3 positions that we're voting on.
Actually, at this time, Darlene has sent it over to legal counsel for
You
review.
are correct. I do remember that last correspondence, and that was more than 2 weeks ago that
We have not heard
the
back yet.
questions went over. Okay, so that is an issue for me. I also want to thank the board for closing out that 2027 insurance annuity that they closed out early. The 2025 was allowed to mature. The 2027 that was non-FDIC investments. I believe now all of our investments are FDIC, that we are no longer with that investment company, LPL Financials or Athene. And I want to extend my appreciation to the treasurer, the co-treasurer, Chuck, Angie, and the committee on finance for doing a better job. In my opinion, I can understand the statements. And I just want to thank the people who do volunteer and who put in a lot of time. Darlene, I have pending questions with you. I'm changing topics. Sorry, my brain went.
Can you get with Darlene individually, please, Mickey?
Let me just say what it is so I can remember. And it has to do with the chuck wagon and licensing.
Okay, Darlene can write that down. Okay, I have a hand over there.
As Paul Gravelin, lot 1664, Vice President of the Sawmill. Steve Funk is the President of Sawmill. Few things. What I hear here tonight is mostly process problems. I work for a multinational company, and we had a process. We hired a lot of people to just go over all our processes from the lowest low to the highest high, including the CEO and everything else. 90% of the problems we had in our company, and they're still dealing with them every day, because 90% of the processes we had, not everybody knew about them. Number two, the people that, even the CEO, they did, 60% of them didn't know there was a process, because it was in a department, it was in a group, this or that or the other thing. You have to correct the processes. People are not responsible for all these problems you're talking about. Yes, at some time they are. CEO takes management, takes responsibility for everything, but that doesn't mean they did everything. Other people are responsible for things that happened in the past, things that are happening now. Key fobs. We had a whole bunch of people investigate that, and this was a while back, and they're still dealing. They do have face recognition now. They do have a double port. So you've got to go through one gate, then you got to go through another gate. If you don't get through the first gate, you're probably not supposed to be there, but that doesn't prevent the person. If you just have one gate, that doesn't prevent the person from following the person in front of them going through. So there's a double gate, face recognition, they don't get in. Regular person that went in front of them, the gate closes behind them, then facial recognition does that. Then the person that really supposed to be there is there. It records it with the office and security. They know who's in the building at all times. They know who's leaving the building, what time they left, all that is involved. But that's security. If you're talking about having security here, you're talking a lot of money. You got to put up gates, the golf course, they walk down the golf course. They walk in, they park in the golf course parking lot. They walk through to whoever they got to go to. They talk about the ones from down south. They're jogging on our streets because they come through and jog in the middle of the night and nobody sees them. So there's a lot of processes that got to be fixed here. And, like the company I work for, they're still working on it every day. And, yet they have less problems with processes, but they never go away, because somebody's always, doing another process. So for maintenance has a process for us, regularly scheduled maintenance for the sawmill, for the dust collector, motor, this, that, and the other thing, all the AC units, all the filters on the AC units, they take care of that. That's their process. Does anybody know about it? Probably not. So, that's the problem, that's what I got. So.
Thank you. I think that your comments are spot on, that we need processes and the processes need to be communicated to everyone so that everyone knows what everyone else is doing. Part of the reason that we are getting the chairs of the different committees together with the board. Thank you. Facial recognition. What if I change the color of my hair and get a facelift?
Take your glasses off and your hats off. That's because they want to see you.
Okay.
One last question. We talked about attorneys. I think it's important to use attorneys. Do it right the first time. It'll cost you 2 and 3 times if you don't.
You are so, and that's why we are using the association's attorney more out of the box to make sure our documents are good before the fact.
Exactly. I have just one suggestion. We have 2001 lots.
We
There
do.
must be some attorneys that are retired. Could we not run some of these items before him or she before we go to our legal counsel?
The problem with that, and I don't disagree with that, but the problem with that is that our association's attorney is specifically an HOA attorney practicing in Arizona.
Well, But if you had a resident, he could give you a clue, say, don't even ask the question. This is what's going to happen. It doesn't relate necessarily to HOA. And the HOAs would have to go through it.
Still a toughie, but
Just
thank
a
you.
thought.
I just have a question. Mickey said there's 3 that are up for election? I
There
thought there was
are,
only 2.
there are actually 2, but there has been discussion from a few owners that there should be 3 because John was appointed to fill Greg's position. Now, our bylaws state that the board may choose someone to fill a position, and we have always done that. But we want to make certain that we are doing the right thing. Therefore, Curtis is reviewing.
Yeah, but you appointed him to fill that spot.
That is
Until
correct.
the end of that person's spot.
That is correct.
So why all of a sudden now do they want to change?
I do not know, but once again, I'm not an attorney. God, wish I were an attorney. But I'm not an attorney, and that's why we want Curtis to review it to make sure that we are 100% ducks in a row. I must confess, I will take some more questions. I said I would stand here until every question was answered and every hand went down. But I am getting a little thirsty and a little tired. So do we have any more questions? I'm going to.
Do our CC&R state the appointment for the director a term? Does it say that it's only until the next election, or does it say until the existing?
It is our bylaws, and it says term in our bylaws. So, but there's questions, so we're going to get them answered.
Mickey Aston, Lot 13. And I fear that people are going to be really unhappy with my question, but I'm going to do it. This is regarding state licensing for alcohol. The association, Happy Trails Association, does not hold an exemption nor a license for BYOB. This has been an issue for me for the last 6 years with fundraising, with parties, with events that I've been involved with, and I've questioned it. And we are moving into, or we are actually in our peak season now. We have multiple events happening that are BYOB, that are being hosted by the association. And we are in violation, I believe, of the state statute. What are we going to do with these events that are being advertised, BYOB? How are we going to, as an association, follow the law?
We will investigate. That's all I can tell you, Mickey, is we will investigate because I am not aware of that. So we'll look into it.
I find that difficult to understand that the board is not aware of alcohol licensing, nor food and beverage, nor restaurant, nor catering. Maybe it's not board of directors whose responsibility, but you oversee management.
And like I said, I apologize. I do not know about licensing for BYOB, but I will ensure that we investigate it.
Okay, I do have correspondence into management on it.
I see a hand in the back. Okay, Deanna and Michael race. Oh, Michael's going to win.
Roberta Ernest, 712-996. Per the bylaws, section 5, page 5, vacancies. A vacancy in any office may be filled by vote of a majority of the board of directors. The officer elected to such vacancy shall serve for the remainder of the term of the officer he replaces. Nothing in state statute that means we should only have 2. It says a vacancy in any office. Okay, we can clarify that, but I would say we're clear.
Thank you for reading that, Roberta, but we will have clarity from legal counsel. Anybody else? Anyone else?
Hello. Hi, I'm Nancy Kinney. I'm on lot 987. And my question's regarding Darlene. We've run out of the we're listening sessions. We have no way to approach a board member. Everything is directed to Darlene. That's fine. But after hearing Mickey ask Darlene a question and Darlene doesn't answer her because somebody else answered that question, that's bullshit. I don't know anybody asked that question.
Okay, I
So
appreciate
does
that.
Darlene have extra help with her in-mail box?
If she needs it, she can get it. Thank you. I appreciate the question. I do not want anyone to not feel their question was answered. Is there anyone else? There's a lady in the back. Ma'am.
Stephanie Singer, lot 1313. I just want to know if there's any information about the crack in the pool. So we haven't heard a thing about it.
Okay, I will address the crack in the pool. And thank you for the question. There are actually 6 visible cracks in the town center swimming pool. That means we can see them when we look through the water. There is a proposal that will be coming to the board at the board meeting a week from today, next Thursday. And the proposal that is before the board for those cracks is to drain the pool and repair those 6 cracks. Now, this is a conundrum because we can see the 6 cracks. What we cannot see is when they start the repair, what's underneath those 6 cracks. So to repair, right now, the board will be voting on a motion to repair the 6 cracks. It will not happen until end of season. Even if we wanted it to happen now, the contractors can't get to us until late April or May as it is. But what we need to all be aware of is if they look at those cracks and they dig them up in any way and see more, then that's going to have to be a re-motion, a re-situation, additional investigation to see what we need to do with the pool. Does that help? Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I have 12 months worth of questions here. The topic is changing. Did we get a new HVAC system unit up above the Manzanita room? And did we get a new HVAC unit up above the glass room?
Yes.
Both of those units were recently replaced. I saw Kingco up here and I just wondered
Yes.
if that was new. Did we have to change out ductwork also?
I believe not.
Okay. And was that scheduled in the budget for operations?
It was a reserve item. And we run our air conditioners we run our air conditioners, I call it to death, but it is technically to fail.
Run to fail. Yep, the term I learned here at Happy Trails. I think that might be what's on my mind now. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call a halt because about 10 days ago, I was in Nebraska playing with my great-grandchildren and I blew out my knee. So I have been standing for however long I've been standing here without a brace and my knee's just about gone. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate you coming. I appreciate the questions. Please try to stay warm out there and enjoy the rest of your day.